Hello, it's Angela with Happy Little Stitch Shop. Today is Thursday, February 6th, 2020. And I'm here today to talk to you about a bunch of stitchy and quilty things. The first thing that I wanted to chat with you about is today's question of the day in honor of our Stitchalong for Frosty Forest and just finishing Raccoons Cabin. My question for you guys today is, have you ever had an encounter with a raccoon? Hello, Kim. Hello, Sharon. Thanks for joining me. Have you ever had an encounter with a raccoon? Because we just finished stitching Raccoons Cabin, and I was talking with another stitcher who is part of the Stitch Along, and she said that she just finished stitching Raccoons Cabin, and guess what showed up in her attic? A raccoon. And her husband was like, you brought that raccoon into this house because you just finished stitching that Raccoon's Cabin, and he was giving her a hard time about it. And so they have a raccoon in their attic and they're trying to get rid of it. So she was laughing with me about that. I mean, over Instagram. The majority of you guys who are stitching with me, I've actually never met before, but I've enjoyed getting to know you through Instagram and chatting with you through Instagram and through these live streams. So I don't know her personally, but we have chatted and gotten to know each other through Instagram, and she's a really sweet person. And she now has a raccoon in her attic. So it made me think of raccoon encounters because those things are little stinkers. And so do any of you guys have a story about an encounter with a raccoon? If you do, put it in the comments and let me know about it. I have a story about an encounter with a raccoon, which is kind of funny. My kids and I, so again, for those of you who don't know, my husband and I have 6 kiddos. We have a soon to be 13-year-old. She's going to be 13 soon, like next week. And then we have 4 11-year-olds, and then we have a 1-year-old. So we have 6 kids. But when the older 5 were little, and we still do camp, we go camping quite a bit. And so here's a picture of our earlier days of camping. Those are my 5 older kiddos. And we used to camp in a tent when we first started camping. And then we got a little teeny tiny pop-up camper, which it's kind of funny because it's like the clown car. I mean, when we get up in the morning, there's person after person who comes out, and the people who camp around us are like, do you have any more people in there? But so one time when we were camping, one of our first camping outings, we went to bed for the night. Everybody got into the tent. And I, being a nervous camper with 5 little ones in the tent with us, used a carabiner so when you have a tent, you have one zipper that comes down from the top and one that goes across the bottom, right? So I took a carabiner and I put it through the holes of both of those zippers to make our tent really secure, because that's going to save. The carabiner is like the ADT of the tent, right? So the carabiner is for sure going to keep anybody from getting into our tent who wants to get in there. So I had a carabiner, put it around both of the zippers so that nobody could get in. So we're sleeping, kids are sleeping. I'm laying there awake, wondering if the carabiner is actually going to work. And I hear something brush up against the side of the tent. So my oldest one, who was probably 3 or 4 at the time, she's sleeping alongside the tent, and something brushes up against it. And there's like a backlight. And so I can see the shadow of something walking right, like it brushes up against the tent right where she is. I'm like, what is that? Oh my gosh, is the carabiner gonna work? And so I'm laying there trying to be perfectly still, hoping that whatever it is will go away. And then I hear kind of a ruckus outside at our campsite. And so I get up and I peek through the little flap of the tent, and I see this group of raccoons like scavenging in our campsite. And so we have our cooler out there, which is a hard-sided cooler. It has a lid. The lid is shut. But these raccoons are trying to get the cooler open. And they have really dexterous little hands. And so they open up the cooler, And they take out, I had this big Tupperware container of grapes in there. They take out our bucket of grapes and they're walking away with it. And I wake up my husband and I'm like, you have to get up. The raccoons are stealing our grapes. And he's like, what? And he had been sleeping. And so he was totally out of it. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I said, get out there and get the raccoons. They're trying to steal our grapes. And so he gets up and he's like trying to get out of the tent, and he goes to try to unzip it. He's like, I can't unzip this tent. What is this on there? And I'm like, the carabiner worked. And so eventually he gets out of the tent. I remove the carabiner for him. He gets out of the tent and he goes out there. By the time he gets out of the tent, the raccoons scurry away. They drop the grapes. The grape container lid comes off and grapes go all over the place. But those raccoons are stinkers. So that's my raccoon story in honor of having just finished our first part of our Frosty Forest Stitchalong, which is called Raccoons Cabin. So Kim says, your carabiner story reminds me of when my mom gave me a whistle when I went off to college. No kidding. My dad did the same thing along with a can of mace. It was for protection. I was supposed to blow this whistle if anyone messed with me, and that will surely save you, right? Like, that's how I felt about this carabiner looking back on it. At the time, I thought, okay, this is really smart. Like, I've got this carabiner, we're set. And now looking back on it, my husband after the fact was like, really? Do you think that that was going to do anything, Ange? I'm like, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. I needed a carabiner on the grapes. That's what Kim says. No kidding. We did. Those things, I couldn't believe it. They were like literally walking on two legs carrying, I mean, it was a big container of grapes. Like, I need two hands to carry it. And they were trying to escape with the grapes. They were in heaven. So that's my story for Raccoon Cabin. If you have any raccoon encounters, please share them in the comments. That'll lead us right into catching up on Frosty Forest. So right now we are in the midst of stitching Frosty Forest. We just finished Raccoons Cabin. If you haven't finished it yet, don't worry about it. Because it's all, the stitch along is all stitch at your own pace. Like, you don't have to keep on track. You don't have to freak out if you're ahead or behind. Do whatever you want to. It's easy breezy, like no worries. Kim says it's actually genius. If I ever dare go camping, I will be doing that. No joke. You're welcome. And you can tell your husband he's welcome too. Okay, so Raccoons Cabin. This is how mine looks so far. Sorry, this is all goofy. I was stitching it this morning. So Raccoons Cabin is done. That's the one that's in the middle. And then the next one that we're doing is, which you guys should have all received your shipment for the next Frosty Forest, is Snowy Deer. So this is what Snowy Deer looks like. And that's what I've started over here, is Snowy Deer. And some people are cranking it out. Kim, I think you are already done with yours and it looked great. And I've seen some people updating on our hashtag HLSS Frosty Forest SAL. So if you want to follow along, that's the hashtag that we're using. And your stitches look really good. Sally, I think I saw just this morning your little French knot eyes on your deer, and Kim was commenting on it. They looked great. And she said something like, sometimes French knots work out and sometimes they don't. And I would agree with that, because on the raccoon, I swear for his nose, I had to do about 5 French knots before it actually stuck. So don't get frustrated with your French knots. If the first one doesn't work, try again, and one of them will stick. So that is Raccoons Cabin and Snowy Deer. So we are now on month 2 of Frosty Forest Stitchalong. Snowy Deer is the pattern that we're working on. And please take pictures and share it to the hashtag HLSS Frosty Forest SAL. And again, all of that is in, I have 2 cameras going. So I have YouTube on and I have Instagram. So hello to Instagram viewers and hello to YouTube viewers. For those of you who are on Instagram, I usually do this live stream Thursdays at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. But I was hoping to get some more people interested and maybe subscribe to the channel. So if you're on YouTube, head on over to, or if you're on Instagram, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the Happy Little Stitch Shop channel, and then leave comments, and all of the links to everything that I'm talking about are in the YouTube description box. So that is Frosty Forest. We are on to Snowy Deer. Everybody should have received their shipments. So you should have everything that you need to stitch Snowy Deer for this month. And then again, which I'll talk to you about as the month goes on, but I'll send out invoices towards the end of the month for March. The other stitch along that we're doing right now is Cottage of the Month, which I am loving. So we are starting our Cottage of the Month stitch along. This is our first month that we're doing. We just started it. People should have received or be receiving their first month packet shipment right now. So this is something that if you still want to join, I do still have some spots left for Cottage of the Month. So you just need to go to the website and reserve your spot. And then I will get, I will invoice you for the first month. And as soon as I receive payment for that, I'll get that first month shipped out to you right away, because it's already shipped to everybody else. But it's not too late to join if you're interested in joining. So we're starting with March for Cottage of the Month. So this is what the March pattern looks like. And let's see if I can get mine out. I started a little bit early on this because my stitching is kind of sporadic depending on what's going on with my family. Like this week has been kind of a scattered week. My daughter made it to regional spelling bee, so I was at that last night. My son was in, his art was picked to be displayed at a business in town, and so they had an art reception for that. And then my son was also picked to be in like a one-day opera type thing called Pirates of Penzance, which, by the way, what movie does that remind you of? If you can name the movie, you win a good job. Pirates of Penzance. So he was in that. So it's just been kind of a scattered week. So sometimes I have good weeks of stitching and sometimes not so good. And I'm trying to read comments and questions from two different spaces. So just bear with me. Chris Nelson 39 says, what does the end product look like for Frosty Forest or for Cottage of the Month? So for Cottage of the Month, each cottage is just an individual stitch. So this is what the March end product will look like. For Frosty Forest, let me see. I can show you what the end, when we put all 9 stitches together. So for Frosty Forest, you can either stitch them individually, which some people might choose to do that, or you can stitch them as one big piece. So if you do Frosty Forest and you stitch it all as one big piece, this is what it will look like. And for those of you on, that's what it will look like. So that's what Frosty Forest will look like once it's all done. Here is my Cottage of the Month for March. And again, if you want to join into this one, there is still openings left. That's March. And I have really enjoyed stitching this March pattern. Like, I don't know, the colors are fun. The little shamrocks are really fun. I've really enjoyed stitching this piece. It's been a lot of fun. It's on lamb's wool. I think the background looks great. Like, I like I just like it. It's all good. I like it. Kim says her Frosty Forest Snowy Deer stitched up faster than the last one. It is super cute too. It is super cute. Another person who's stitching with us said, I'm stuck in the pile of snow on Raccoons Cabin. That pile of snow did seem to take forever to do. The pile of snow that I'm talking about is this pile of snow behind the raccoon. She's like, I'm stuck in the snow. She can't seem to get past the snow part. It does seem to take forever, but keep plugging away. That house, Kim says, oh, beautiful, Angela, that house. I know that cottage is so fun. Like, this is a really fun series to stitch. I'm excited to get it done. I'm excited to stitch it. I'm enjoying the process. My plan is to frame them individually and then hang them in my little one's room. Which, by the way, I did make some progress on the family tree frames. So that is a possibility that I will be able to get those and offer them to you. I know some of you had asked, could you carry the frames? We would like to get the frames from you. And I've been working on it, and it's been slow going, but I did hear back from them, and it sounds like it could happen. So if there are certain frames that you would like to have from Family Tree Frame Company, let me know, because they're handmade, and so it takes a considerable amount of time in order for them to get done. And so I think the lead time is like 4 to 6 weeks. So I would like to put an order in, and what I might do is put in an order for this frame that's on the March stitch along, and maybe do April too. But I don't want to have too much excess because they are kind of pricey frames. I think they retail for about $50 to $60 is what she said. So if you're interested in those frames, comment, let me know, get in touch with me somehow so that I can kind of plan accordingly. Okay, so that's Cottage of the Month. For our Cottage of the Month stitch along, that was March. Again, if anybody wants to join, the link is in the YouTube description box to join our Cottage of the Month stitch along. It's not too late to do that. Then the other stitch along that we are doing, which doesn't start until March, is our Farmhouse Christmas stitch along. And this is what that one looks like. Again, it's a 9-part series. And it looks like that. And we will start that in March. The first one is called Horsing Around. I've been getting together the floss kits and all of that for Farmhouse Christmas. And I've been debating about the cloth to use, because I had down that we would use lamb's wool, but I don't really like it. So I've been doing some more research about cloth to use for the background, more of kind of a rustic look. And I found a cloth called Country French Latte, 16 count Aida, and I like it. So if any of you want to take a peek at that out online, just do a search for Country French Latte, 16 count Aida. Let me know what you think about it. Otherwise, that's my plan, is to go with that and order that for the stitch along. So Farmhouse Christmas, super cute. The reservation is out online. Go and reserve your spot. The reservations I keep getting more and more in, so this will be a really great stitch along. I did just, I sent the series to the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea. And I don't know if any of you guys watch them. I have linked their YouTube channel below. They're really excellent. Subscribe to them if you have not, for some reason, heard of them. But they were so kind to comment on my shop and to kind of give me a shout out on their Flosstube. So I really appreciated that. I've never met them, not met them in person, although we only live like an hour or 2 hours apart. Like, we're pretty close to each other, which I didn't realize that. But they were really nice to give me a shout out on their Flosstube for Farmhouse Christmas, and to give a shout out for my shop. And so I really am thankful for that. So thankful for that, because they didn't have to do it, but I was really thankful that they did do that, because it helps. I'll use any help that I can get in trying to kind of get this shop going and have it be a beneficial thing for my family. So for Farmhouse Christmas, if you're interested in joining in that stitch along, it starts in March. The shipments will go out at the beginning of the month of March. Sign up, go to the website and reserve your spot so that I can get you on the list. That leads me into talking about Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea. At the end of their Flosstube that they just had, Priscilla was talking about her latest Chalkful, which is, so Priscilla is an artist. She draws chalkboard art, and then she submits those drawings to Hands On Design, which is a cross stitch pattern designer, and they turn her art into cross stitch patterns. And so she has a series called Chockful, and she just had a new one come out that's called Hip Hop. Each pattern that she does is kind of a new one for the season. And so she has a snowman one and a Santa Claus one and a ghost and pumpkin one and a sunflower one. And so the idea is that you can switch it out for the seasons. And I know what she does is she has this display. Well, first of all, let me show you. So this is the Hip Hop Chockful that is just being released right now. And so it's like a mason jar. The pattern is a mason jar, and then coming out of the mason jar are bunnies and carrots. So this one is obviously for spring, but she has one that has a mason jar with sunflowers coming out of it. And another one is a mason jar with, like this one is ghosts and pumpkins coming out of it. And then there's another one that has snowmen coming out of it. So the idea, this one is Santa's. So it's super cute. And I was really touched to see how proud she was of her new release, which she should be because she's worked hard at it. And so I always get touched when I see people work hard for something and then it starts to pay off for them. And so I want to support that in my teeny tiny way that I can, which would be to do stitch along of this Chockful series. So I have put out online a reservation to do a chalk series stitch along. Right now there are 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out. There are more coming. There's supposed to be like a Liberty Americana one that's going to be released closer to summer, I think. But just as a way to say thank you and to support Priscilla and Chelsea, I want to do my very, very small part and host a stitch along. I think these are really cute and I would like to stitch them myself. And so I'm opening it up to a stitch along with whoever wants to join me. I've put a reservation out on my website. It doesn't have a ton of information yet because I just did it really quick today. So I don't have monthly costs down or anything like that. I haven't measured out like the cloth and how many you can fit on one piece of cloth or anything like that yet. I will do that eventually and get that updated. But if you'd like to join me for the Chockful stitch along, please go and reserve your spot. And my plan is I think I'm going to finish it just like Priscilla did. She got this metal stand, white metal, like farmhouse looking stand at Hobby Lobby. And then she has a magnet on the back of her stitch and she just switches it out each season. And she sets it, I think she has it like set in her kitchen. So it sounds super cute. And I think I'm just going to do it like that. Although I have to go get that thing from Hobby Lobby before they sell out. And the closest Hobby Lobby to us is about an hour away. So it's not, I don't get there hardly ever actually. So if you would like to join the Chockful stitch along, I put a reservation in the shop. Go and reserve your spot so that I can know how many people are interested. So that's it for all of the stitch alongs that are in process right now. We've got Frosty Forest going on right now, Cottage of the Month, which just started. So you can still sign up for that. Farmhouse Christmas, which is starting in March. So if you want to join that, sign up for that, put your reservation in. And then Chockful, which I'm looking to start in March with the hip hop one, because that one's just being released now. So then I can order those, get the floss kits made up, and then have those ready to ship at the beginning of March. So if you want to join the Chockful, I think I asked for people to put in their reservations by the 24th of February, just so then it gives me a good idea of who wants to be part of it for numbers. Okay, then I've had a few people reach out to me about cross-stitch questions. Some are kind of basic questions that people are just getting back into cross-stitch and they couldn't remember how to do it. The first question was, how do you start your stitch? The answer to this is you kind of have to figure out what works for you. When I first started stitching, Oh, hold on a second. So Kim says, will you remind me of the hashtag for Cottage of the Month? Yes, it's HLSS, which stands for Happy Little Stitch Shop. Cottage, SAL. HLSS, Cottage, SAL. And I put the hashtag in the comments in the YouTube description box as well. Okay, so to start your stitch, when I first started stitching, I learned that you should start in the very, very center of the stitch. So you iron your cloth, you put a crease so that you can find the center, and then you count to start wherever you want to start from the center. Nowadays, the idea, which I think is a lot simpler, is to measure 2 inches in from the edge of your cloth and start at that point. So for Frosty Forest, for example, there is a border here. Each stitch has a border that goes around it. So what I did is I took a measuring tape and I measured, I think I did 3 inches on this actually, but 2 to 3 inches down from the top, 2 to 3 inches in from the side, and that's where I started. This was an easy one to start because there's a border. So I just started my stitch right there in the corner where the border is. For those that don't have a border, you kind of maybe put a marker there and then you'll have to count to whatever the closest stitch is to that point. So that's how I start, is I just measure in from the edges of the cloth. It's much, much easier than trying to start in the middle and count your way out of the middle. Typically there's a pretty close stitch to the top left corner that you can count to fairly easily and start there. But again, everybody does it their own way. And so you just kind of have to figure out what works for you. I've done the center. I found that to be more difficult. And so now I measure and I start that way. So the next question, somebody asked me how to stitch on fabrics other than Aida. And so I don't stitch on a lot other than Aida, but I'm sure that there are some of you out there who do. And so if you could comment in the YouTube description or comment section how that works for you, that would be great. This is what I know. Aida is an even weave cloth. All of the threads are very even. They're the same width. And so the stitches, the boxes are very clear to see. Okay. So it's very easy to stitch. You don't have to figure out where the box is or where your stitches go. The box and the holes for your stitches are very clear. For other weaves like linen and those types of things, the threads are all different sizes. So it's not as easy to distinguish where your stitches are supposed to go. But again, I don't stitch on anything other than Aida. So for those, but I know that there are people out here who do. So for those of you who stitch on things other than Aida, if you could comment and give some tips and tricks about stitching on fabrics other than Aida, that would be helpful. Somebody asked me, do you always rip out? So if you make a mistake, do you always rip it out? My answer is no, I do not. If the mistake is a big one, like it's very noticeable, then yes, I will go through the effort of going back and ripping it out. If it is not that noticeable, like I made a mistake on this corner. The first border that I did, I messed it up. So instead of being one stitch, there's an extra stitch in here in the corner. I don't care about that. I wasn't going to go through and rip out this entire row in order to fix one stitch. I wasn't going to do that. Nobody will notice it unless I point it out to them. So no, I don't always rip out. It depends on how much I have to rip out, and it depends on how big of an error it is. Hi from Arkansas. Thank you for joining me. The next question someone asked is, do you worry about how neat the back is? The back of your stitch. I do not worry about how neat the back of my stitch is. Some people are very particular about making sure the back of their stitch is neat. For me, I just want it to lay nicely. So I don't want, obviously I don't want a lot of bulk on the back of my stitch, but I don't care how it looks. I travel from here to there across the back. I don't travel long distances, but there are times that I'm not going to cut and start fresh. I do travel across the back of my stitch. And nobody's going to see the back of it. I'm not framing it with the back showing, so nobody's going to see it. So for me personally, I don't care how my back looks. I'm not worried about having it be really neat. But again, that's personal preference. It just depends on how you feel about it. For me, I don't worry about it. I just keep stitching. The other question somebody asked me is, what size do you need to cut your cloth for Cottage of the Month? So for our Cottage of the Month stitch along, which is this, again, what I did is I measured in 2 inches from the top and 2 inches over from the side, and I started my stitch there. This stitch on 16 count finishes at about 5.8 inches. And the rule of thumb is to add 2 inches-ish onto the border so that whatever you're mounting it to, you can have 2 inches to work with around the edge to turn it over, whatever you're mounting it to. So that would be about 7.8 inches. So I said an 8-inch square would be a good size to cut your fabric. And then 6 stitches will fit on this piece of fabric because this piece of fabric is 18 by 25. So if you stitch it horizontally, you know what I mean? Then you'll be able to fit an 8-inch here, an 8-inch here, an 8-inch here. That would be 24 inches, and it's 25 inches across. And then if you do 8 inches and 8 inches, that would be 16 inches. And it's 18 inches top to bottom. So you should have plenty to stitch 6 months on this one piece of cloth. And then your second piece of cloth will come in your shipment in July or August. I can't remember which one. But so an 8-inch square is what I would do for Cottage of the Month. That should give you enough for mounting and give you enough that you're not using too much of your cloth, that you can fit 6 stitches on that one piece. Okay, that's all the questions that I have for cross stitch. Oh, no, it's not. Somebody else asked, do you stitch one way and then come back the other way? So the way that I learned is you do stitches all the way across and then you cross those stitches all the way back. Typically, yes, that's what I do. But if there are places in my stitch that it doesn't make sense for that, then I just kind of do what I want to do. So for example, up here, yes, I stitched this green all the way across and then came back and crossed it on my way back. But for this row here, I wasn't going to stitch this and then travel all the way over here to stitch this one and then travel all the way over here to stitch this. So instead, I just stitched it this way. I stitched this whole row down. And then when I got down here, I think I traveled, just because there are only 3 stitches in here. But then I stitched this whole row down and I did these, you know, so it just depends on where this stitch takes me, I guess. If it makes sense for me to go all the way across, then yes, I do that. But if it makes sense for me to go in a different direction so I'm not traveling so much, then I'll just switch it up, if that makes sense. So those are the cross stitch questions. Sorry, I have a really itchy nose today. So then I'm going to show you some patterns that I have restocked. I placed an order for, yeah. Okay, so I have Lori Holt Stitch Cards Set A, if you're in the mood for some spring stitching. Those have been restocked. I restocked Quilter's Cottage. This one was a really fun stitch. If I ever get it finished, I promise to show you. If I can ever get to Hobby Lobby, I mean, why does it have to be an hour away? Which, by the way, is really what my mom was kind of adamant that we put together floss kits. Even those floss kits can kind of be a pain to put together and to keep track of. And the reason for that, the reason she felt so strongly about it is because we are not close to any shops. And so one time I was doing a stitch that I ordered the floss kit that came with it, and the floss kit, I ran out of color. And I had to go to get another skein. But I have to travel an hour to go get it. And then when I got to that store, they didn't have it. And so it's very frustrating for those of us who live kind of in the boonies a little bit, and we don't have, which I don't even really live in the boonies, but we aren't close. We don't have easy access to a store that carries this kind of stuff. Then it's really nice to have a floss kit that you just have everything and you don't have to worry about going and tracking down the different colors that you need. So we try to offer floss kits for every single cross stitch pattern that we have available. Now I am behind on some of my floss kits because my mom goes to Texas for the winter, and so she's not here. And she's kind of the big floss kit curator. She's the one who puts them all together. So I'm trying to catch up on some of that this week. So we try to offer floss kits for everything, so then you have everything that you need and you don't have to go searching for it. And if there's ever a question about how much floss to put in a kit, I always try to err on the high side, thinking that then at least you don't have to go looking for it and you can just have it in your stash to use next time. So most of the time I try to just provide absolutely what you need. But if there's a question of, oh, there's a lot of white in this one, I'm not sure that one skein is going to do it, then I'm going to make sure that I add another skein to the pack. So then you have everything that you need. Okay, then I restocked vintage Christmas sampler. All of these, this is a shipment. Clearly I ordered from It's So Emma. And so I got this this I was out of. And so it's back in stock now, bringing home the tree. And then I added, because look, I've got it right up there. And I thought, why don't I carry this? You guys see it every week when I'm here. And so I got So She Did. This was a really fun stitch. I really enjoyed doing it. It's right there. I also have the buttons that you sew on there, like all across the top. I have the buttons in the store as well. So we have this. I have the cloth, the vintage cloth that this needs to be stitched on. So all of that is available in the store. And then along that same vein, I did restock the floss flowers for those of you who need your bobbins like I do. So floss flowers are back in stock. And then I added black chalkboard cross stitch cloth because I have some of the Priscilla and Chelsea Real Housewives of cross stitch patterns, like what's it called? Let It Snow Bungalow and the Cottontail, Carrots and Cottontails Farm, and those get stitched on black cloth. And so here is the chalkboard black 16 count Ada by Wichell. So I have a bunch of that in stock to go with Priscilla and Chelsea cross stitch patterns. And then I always have to show these needle minders because they're just too darn cute. Flamingo Toes, Beverly McCullough is her name, and she does these needle minders, and they are so cute. One of our Stitchalong stitchers said, oh my gosh, I love those needle minders. Before she had gotten it, she had lost her needle in her couch. And so her husband and her were digging through the couch, trying to find her cross stitch needle. And she's like, now I don't ever have to worry about it because these needle minders are great. And Beverly's needle minders are cute, clearly, but they're also really great quality. They're probably the best quality needle minder that I've come across. Here's a little hedgehog. There's a little camper. Apparently I only have one hedgehog left, so I might need to order more of those. And this one has been selling a lot. I only have one of these left as well, the bike. So there's a link below in the YouTube description for needle minders. And then of course all of Beverly's cross stitch patterns, which I have those as well. They're just super cute. So all the things, she's got really cute patterns. Okay, that's it for cross stitch. Does anybody have any questions about cross stitch stuff? If you do, just comment. And remember that all of the stitch-alongs that we have going on, I've put links in the YouTube description box. And so you can just click on those links and do your reservation to join our stitch-alongs. Frosty Forest, we're in our second month. So that one I don't have open anymore. But Cottage of the Month is open. Farmhouse Christmas is open. and Chock Full series is open. Sharon says, will the Chock Full So Long include the black cloth? Yes, it will. So I have to measure out yet like how many we can fit on one piece of cloth. There are 5 stitches out, and I think a 6th one coming in the summer or close to the summer. And so I need to figure out how many stitches we can fit. I haven't done any of that yet because I just had this idea last night when I was sitting at my daughter's spelling bee. And I thought, you know, I really appreciate them giving me a shout out. I was really touched to see how proud Priscilla was of her newest release. And so I want to do a small part to support that. I think that they're cute. I want to stitch them up, and I want to finish it just like Priscilla did because I think it's really cute. So I'm just going to steal her idea. And so I thought, well, maybe I could do a stitch along. So I got the reservation out there today, just a little bit ago, but I haven't, if you read the description in the reservation, it's very vague because I haven't gone through and figured out cost yet, or how much floss is needed, or how much cloth is needed, or anything like that. So I do need to sit down and do that. But the stitch along reservation is out there, and yes, it will include the black cloth. Yes. And then I am the Crafty Badger. Says, hi from Indianapolis. Hello, I'm brand new to cross stitch. I ordered January and February from you. It was a badger and a giraffe. Will you, or do you have more months? I can definitely get more months. She's talking about the Tiny Modernist has a series called The Year of Animal Fun and Frolic, if I'm remembering correctly. And I stocked January, February, and March because I wasn't sure how it was going to do. So I just did the first 3 months. But yes, if you are interested in that, I can absolutely get more of those. I can include them with my next order. Right now I only have January, February, and March, but I can include the other ones in my next order if that's something that you would like. Just comment and let me know if for sure you would like that, or you can send me a message on Instagram. You can direct message me. But if there's anything that anybody wants and you want to support my business and get it from Happy Little Stitch Shop, then I am happy to try to get it for you. So if I know that you want a certain cross stitch or certain cloth or certain quilting stuff, I'm happy to try to get it for you and provide that for you. So you just need to let me know. Okay, if you have more cross stitch questions, just feel free to ask. And especially if you're on YouTube, just leave them in the comments and I will try to go back and answer any questions that are out there. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to quilting. I've sold out a Vintage Housewife. So I see some people have contacted me and asked about if I have more of that. I do not, and I will not be getting more. And so Vintage Housewife quilt kit is sold out, but I do still have backing available. And the backing is super pretty. And remember, it's the 108-inch wide backing, so no seams on your backing. I showed it to you last week in last week's video. And I have the link below in the YouTube description to take you to that page so that you can see it. I still have plenty of backing available. So if you would like backing for your Vintage Housewife quilt, please take a peek here and I'd be happy to ship that out to you. Now I have some quilt kits that are ready to ship. Oh, no, this isn't a quilt kit. This week I received Summer Sweet. So for those of you who are familiar with Sherry and Chelsea, they just released a new fabric line called Summer Sweet, and it is beautiful. I mean, the colors in this line are beautiful. I meant to pull one. Hold on. Okay, so I have fat quarter bundles. I also have fat eighth bundles. That's what this is. This is a fat eighth bundle. And you get 36 fat eighths in this. So it's of the whole line. But look at these colors. I mean, aren't they beautiful? They're just really, really pretty. And maybe this is a charm pack, so maybe I can show you some of some of the patterns. I don't know if you can see that super well, but there's some grays and some darker colors, and then blues and really pretty greens and yellows, kind of peachy, orangey, and then the cream on top. So for this one, I didn't end up kitting up a quilt for this line because I felt like I was getting in on it too late. And I kept saying, no, I don't think I'm going to carry it. No, I don't think I'm going to carry it. It's too late. All the other shops were getting it, and I felt like it was just too late. But I couldn't resist because it's so pretty. Like, it's a very pretty line. So I went ahead and I got a bunch of pre-cuts, thinking that that would be the easiest way for you guys to be able to just add some to your stash and have it be part of your stash. Or if you're going to do a pre-cut quilt on your own, I've got all the pre-cuts you need. So I have fat quarter bundles, fat eighth bundles, layer cakes, charm packs, and mini charm packs. So Summer Sweet. I put the link below so that you can go check out all the pre-cuts that are available for that. Then I also have and those are available to ship right now. Like, I have them in stock. They are ready for me to ship them to you. So as soon as you place an order, it will get out the door to you. Then I also have this ready to ship. This is Baked with Love. Lori Holt. This is a Lori Holt quilt. Use this beautiful keepsake box. It has a little one of those magnetic closures. And so I was going to show you what is in here. So open it up. First thing you see is a layer cake. So you get a layer cake in this kit. And then you get additional fabric. A bunch of it. Oh, look at that. That's really pretty. A bunch of additional fabric. And also included in here is, oh, it was stuck to the back. I was like, where's the pattern? It's stuck to the back of the layer cake, but there is a pattern that comes with it so that people were asking me about that. Does this one come with a pattern? Yes, it does. So the pattern's in here, the layer cake, and all the additional fabric that you need for quilt top and binding to make Baked with Love. And then I have a lot of yardage in the shop for backing. So this is the Baked with Love quilt kit. I only have 2 left. So if it's something that you're interested in, I wouldn't wait too long. And then this is so cute. This is also here and ready to ship. And it is Good Morning Mugs Table Runner Kit. So this makes a table runner that looks like that. It's super cute. This little box is just adorable. I mean, you can put all sorts of stitchy things in here. The same thing with the Baked with Love box. I mean, I'm thinking like, oh, if I had a project that is kind of in queue, I would put it in that box and have everything that I need in there. So again, this is a cute little box. It has a magnetic lid. And then inside, you get a little charm pack. And then, oh my gosh, you have the pattern, all the paperwork for that. You get a little bit of rickrack. Do you see that? A little thing of rickrack. And then additional fabric for the top of the table. I mean, look at this. This is so cute. For the top of the table runner and the binding. Okay, so this is super reasonably priced, and I only have 2 of these left as well, and these have gone really fast. So if it's something that you're interested in, I have 2 left. You should order yours sooner rather than later. So those are all things that I have that are ready to ship right now. So if you place an order for it, it's going to come to you immediately. Then I have things that are on the way to me. Yesterday I got a whole slew of I'm in like a tunnel here right now because I've been getting all of these shipments in preparation for kits that I'm putting together that are coming up. And so I got a big shipment yesterday of some fabric, Moda fabric by American Jane. Her newest line is called Good Times, and it's really pretty. So I just want to show you this one. I don't have this online yet, but I'm making up 2 kits. The 2 kits that I'm making up, let's start with that, is Daisy Dew, which looks like this. Super cute. So I'm making up this kit. This is the pattern. It will be in the kit along with all the fabric you need for quilt top and binding. And the backing for Daisy Dew, this is what I want to show you because it's so pretty. I can expect even, so this is the backing for Daisy Dew, but I could also see somebody adding this to their stash for backing for like an Americana quilt or table runner, 4th of July, because these colors are perfect for that. And it's super pretty. So I've got a ton, well, I got a lot of bolts of that to go with Daisy Dew. So there's a reservation out online to reserve your Daisy Dew quilt kit. Again, I put the link below in the YouTube description. Then the other American Jane quilt kit that I'm going to be putting together is this adorable one called Bunnies in the Garden. So this is the pattern. I'm still waiting for both of these on some fabric that should be coming to me soon. And then I'll be able to get the kits together and out the door to you. For those of you who have already reserved, I have some of the fabric, but I don't have all the fabric yet. Once I get all the fabric, then I will send you your invoice and then get them out the door to you. So as of right now, there's still a reservation online for these 2 because I don't have all the pieces yet, but they should be coming to me soon. So this one is called Bunnies in the Garden. It's really, really cute. Colorful, happy, perfect for spring. And it's one that wouldn't take very long to put together. So I'm waiting on some more fabric for this. And then the backing for this one, also very pretty, is this. It's just the cream color, same pattern as the blue. Again, this would also be perfect for like a 4th of July because the colors are really right on for like an Americana 4th of July type of a thing. So those are coming very soon. I have Baked with Love, Good Morning mugs available now. Summer Sweet available now. Order away and I will get all that stuff out the door to you right away. Daisy Dew, Bunnies in the Garden, reservations can be made online. The fabric will be coming soon. As soon as the fabric gets here, I will cut up the kits and I will get them in the mail to you for both of those. Then the other future ones that I have, because I've added a couple to the website for reservations. I showed you last week that I have this one, which I'm very excited about. This one is called Singing in the Rain. It is adorable. This one is by Flamingo Toes, Beverly McCullough, and it's called Singing in the Rain. Somebody says, Sarah Case says, do you mind me asking how you cut? I use a rotary cutter and a cutting mat. So this one is available to be reserved right now. I put the link below. It's called Singing in the Rain Quilt Kit by Beverly McCullough. This one is very cute. And just wait until you guys see these patterns that are part of her line called Singing in the Rain. They're super cute. The other one that I am kitting up, again, from her same line called Singing in the Rain, this quilt kit is called Gingham Windows. And it's really, really pretty. So both of those you can put in your reservations. I've already gotten some reservations in. This fabric releases in March. So I will get it in March. And as soon as I get it, I will get it cut up and sent out to you. The way the reservations work is you pay your reservation And then when the product comes in and I get the quilt kits cut up and ready to go, I send you an invoice for the remaining balance due. So your reservation is not in addition to the quilt kit cost. It is subtracted from your quilt kit cost. And it just secures your kit so that you don't have to worry about me selling out of it. You don't have to worry about not being able to get it. You have your kit reserved, and as soon as it comes in, it will come back out to you. So I invoice you for the remaining balance due, and then I get it out the door to you. So both Singin' in the Rain and Gingham windows are available to be reserved. And then I added a couple more that are also coming out in March. The first one is called Lazy Days, and this is using Bonnie and Camille's. Sarah K says, will you link the bunny? The bunny one is linked in the YouTube description. But Sarah, if you send me a direct message on Instagram, I can send you the link that way as soon as I get done with this. So just send me a message on Instagram, and then I'll send you the link that way to the bunny one. So Bonnie and Camille are coming out with a new line of fabric called At Home. And this one I thought was super cute. It's called Lazy Days. And so I decided to kit it up and offer it as a quilt kit. So Lazy Days Reservation is out there right now using Bonnie and Camille's At Home fabric. So, and for all of these quilt kits, I don't decide what fabric goes in with it. The fabric choices are made by the designer. So then I get a list of materials to make it the way that the designer wants it made. So that one, all of the color choices and fabric choices were done by Bonnie and Camille. And then I just get a list of what I need to include in that kit in order to give you guys the same exact one that you see here. And then the other one, which this one is really popular and the price point is really decent on this one, like really decent. I was surprised when I priced it out. This one is called Dwell 2. It's very, very cute using Bonnie and Camille's At Home fabric. Again, all the fabrics are picked by the designer. This will be kitted up with their At Home fabric, which should ship to me in March. As soon as I get it, I will get those kits made and get it out the door to you. Reservation is available online, so you can reserve your kit right now, today, whenever. And then once the fabric comes in and I get it all cut up and ready to ship to you, I invoice you for the remaining balance, and then I get it in the mail to you. So this one, Dwell 2. So we have Singin' in the Rain, Gingham Windows, Dwell 2, and Lazy Days are all available for reservation. And then I have two more that are available for reservation that don't come out until June. But there was such a strong response to both of these that I decided to do a reservation early because so many people wanted them. So the first one is called Dear Christmas. This will be a quilt kit. And this one, if I'm remembering correctly, it comes in a keepsake box. So this one is already kitted up from Moda when they send it to me. So this one will come in a cute little box. It's adorable. This Dear Christmas. I mean, oh my gosh, the colors and the background, look at that. I mean, those colors are super cute. That background design, I really like. I think it's really, really pretty. So Dear Christmas is available for reservation. Like I said, these last two I've been getting a lot of reservations for. So if it's something that you're interested in, you should not delay because I only have a certain number of reservations and then it's done. Kim says, I love Dwell 2. That one will be hard to resist. And it's a really good price point. I think the quilt kit, so the reservation is $24.98. The quilt kit cost is $89.98. So you pay $24.98 now to reserve your kit, and then you pay $65 at the time of shipment. So as far as quilt kits go, because some quilt kits can be kind of higher, I was surprised that it was that cost. So that's a good price point for a quilt kit. And then Yeah, Sarah Case says it is. Wow, what a great price! It is a really great price. And then this last one has my heart. I'm buying it from myself. I will be making it, and the reservations have been off the charts. I mean, seriously, off the charts. So it's Snow, Sweet Snow Along Quilt Kit. This one, sorry for anybody who is on Instagram. I must have run out of time. So right when I'm saying this one is off the charts, like this one has gotten so many reservations. And before I showed the quilt, my video ended on Instagram. So those people are probably like, what? Which one is it? Sorry. I wanted to do it on both because I thought maybe I would get more of a response from people just jumping on while they're on Instagram. So anyway, Sweet Snow Along, super cute, and a lot of meaning in this quilt kit. And so that's part of the reason why I love it so much. Okay, then I had some quilt questions from some people. I was asked about Dresden plates when I showed a couple weeks ago. I showed a couple Dresden plate quilts that I am working on, and someone had asked about Dresden plates. So I linked below. There were 2 Dresden plate tutorials that I found really helpful. I was intimidated by Dresden plates until I found these videos, and it really simplified it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's no big deal. One of them was by Shabby Fabrics. She did a nice job of explaining and giving a tutorial about Dresden plates. But the other one that I found super helpful, of course, was by Jenny Doan of Missouri Star Quilt Company. She did one years ago about how to do a Dresden plate, and super simple. So I've linked both of those in the description below. If anybody is thinking about doing a Dresden plate and you've been scared of it, don't be scared. Look at these videos and you'll see that it's no big deal. And then I've also linked, like I said below, the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, their YouTube channel. They're trying to get to their next level of subscribers, which I think is, I don't know, 19 or 29,000 or some. I'm trying to reach 100. So they're like way up there, but they seem super sweet. We don't live that far from each other. They were really nice to give me a shout out on their Flosstube this last weekend. And so I've linked their Flosstube below. So then you can subscribe and support them. Plus they give really great information. Their Flosstube is a really good show to watch every Saturday. Sarah, you found us over here. I had to do the AccuQuilt, so it's up to me. LOL. Thank you for joining us, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And for commenting, because then I can see that you're here. Like I see that there are other people here, but I can really only see when people comment. So thank you for commenting and joining in. I appreciate it. And Sarah, I don't know, did you see the snow quilt? Because I know you were commenting on Instagram and then Instagram cut out. So did you see the snow quilt or not? That last quilt that I showed. I'll show it again really quick. Okay, so this was, she says, no, I haven't. So this was the last quilt kit that I showed that's available for reservation. This is the one that I said has my heart, and there's a lot of meaning in it. And the reservations for this one have been off the charts. So I still have a few left. It's called Sweet Snow Along Quilt Kit. And the link is below. Okay. I think that is it. If anybody, does the snow quilt have applique? Sarah says, oh my heavens, that's adorable. It is super adorable. So Sharon, yes, it does have some applique. It's both piecing and applique. And it is absolutely adorable. And the reason for me personally that it has so much meaning is, first of all, there's some, Christmassy elements to it. Up in this top corner, there's a little manger with baby Jesus laying in it. So I really liked that. And then the other thing that I found out recently is that the fabric has scripture pieces, scripture verses written on the fabric. It's kind of hiding little words of wisdom hiding in the quilt for you. I did not know that before, but the designer just posted about that, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And it just made it even more special to me. So I'm really excited about that one. That one I will be making myself. I will be purchasing a kit from myself and making it. And like I said, there are lots and lots of reservations. And I think I have 6 more open. And then I need to decide if I can get more to be able to make up more kits, or if I can't get more because they're all sold out of them. But I have enough for 6 more. I think it's 6 more. And then there's no guarantee that I'll be able to get more. Okay, so what a perfect gift. Love that. Yeah, it's really cool. It's had a really good response as well. Sarah says Quiltalong. So the designer is J. Wecker Frisch. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but she is doing a Quiltalong starting in July. And for Singin' in the Rain, Beverly is doing a Quiltalong as well, starting in April or May. I think it's April. So for both of those, I feel like there's going to be support out there. Like I'll be doing it, so I'll be going through it as well with you. So if there's anybody who needs support, I'll be in the trenches with you, trying to, do it and going through the steps of making it. But for both of those quilts, there will be Quiltalongs, so there will be resources available. And Beverly already said to me that she's super available. Like if I have any questions from customers, she's happy to answer, and she'll be doing the Quiltalong. So there will be lots of instruction for that. And I've been in touch with the snow quilt designer, J. Wecker Frisch. I've been in touch with her, and she's very receptive to answering questions. And so if there's ever a question that we come across as we're going through it, there are resources for us to, reach out to and get questions answered. So those are all the goodies that I have for you today. So if you could please subscribe to my channel, I would love to get to 100 subscribers. That would be woohoo! That would be awesome. Comment on anything below. I love questions. Anything. It gives me more to talk about in the next live stream. So if you have any questions or comments, comment below so that I can see them and answer them. Otherwise, I'm here every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we catch up on our stitches, and I go through some stuff that's happening in the shop, and I love connecting with you guys. You guys are kind of my connection to the outside world. I've said that again and again, but it's true, and I really enjoy the connections that I've made with people. It's pretty cool, actually. Like, it's a pretty cool thing. So I thank you guys for joining me, and please subscribe, and I'll be back next week. In the meantime, have a great week. Thank you so much, and happy stitching.